Okay, for your next project, you're going to be making a mug that's a tripod, and on that tripod, you're going to add an animal that migrates to and from Cape Cod. So you're going to start out with making a template, and you need something that's a cylinder. So something like this, a can of tomato sauce, coffee can, or a container, as long as it's a cylinder. So find something that you have in your house that you can use. I'm going to use this one. You need your template paper, you need something to cut and write with, and you're going to measure out the size because I'm going to use this one. So you measure it first, how much you need, and then I'm going to add, so that's my measurement, I'm going to add probably an inch or two more. So just mark it. And I'm going to use my ruler to just match it up. It happens to be just about 12 inches. All right, I'm going to make my mug about 7 inches tall because I'm going to need some height of that to make that tripod, which you will see in a minute. I recommend you make your mug between 6 and 7 inches tall. Definitely not taller. And I'm just going to draw straight lines so I know where to cut. Alright, here's my template. Now I'm ready for clay, so I rolled up my clay using my guides, and I'm going to put my template on there, and I am going to cut it. You can use your needle tool or you can use a knife. Get rid of the excess clay. And now I'm going to tape my template loosely, make sure it moves, it needs to be loose, onto my cylinder. And I'm going to roll the clay around it. And remember, I made it a little bigger, so there's my overlap, which you need. Then I'm going to get my knife, or you can get your needle tool, and instead of cutting it straight through, I'm cutting that angle. So I have a bigger surface area where I can score and slip it together. And then get rid of your excess clay. Also at the bottom, right? Oops. And then you're going to score your edges. Make sure you use slip. And again, I'm going to wrap it around my cylinder, and it should be a perfect fit. See that? Perfect fit. So you're gonna blend it together, compress it. This is very important because this is your weakest area, right? Where you just attached it. And then once it is attached, you remove your cylinder and you remove your template. And there you go. Yeah, make sure it stays in that cylinder shape. So next you're going to make that tripod, which is the bottom. So right now it's the bottom facing up. And keep an eye where that seam is. Make sure it doesn't pop open there. So you're going to squeeze them together to create that triangle to make a tripod. So gently squeeze it and keep an eye on your seam. You're going to push those corners closer and closer together. It's okay if you take some time, or if you need to turn your cylinder. So the tripod is basically the feet for your mug. See? So where it's touching now, I'm going to score this together. And again, make sure you use slip, lots of slip, nice deep scoring marks. And you're gonna push it together. Make sure it really attaches, and you compress it and you blend it in. So most likely you still have a gap there in the center, and that's okay because you're gonna fill that up with a piece of clay. But it is very important that you compress those corners. So I picked something that I could just trace, that's a circle, to fill up that gap. It doesn't have to be a circle as long as you have enough clay to cover it. You're going to score and slip that on. Again, make sure nice deep scoring marks, lots of slip. And there you go. Push it on and blend it in. So then you can put it right side up. Now that inside seam, make sure that is connected as well and it is blended. You do not want to see that seam anymore. So if you can't reach it with your hands, use your modeling tool to help you. You want to make sure that seam is completely closed up. Those little corners from your tripod on the inside, you should still see a little bit of a gap. Now that's going to collect like mold, mildew, and bacteria. So make sure you fill those up with little pieces of clay and use your modeling tool to blend it all together. And you can try to use your sponge as well, depending how deep it is. Once that's done, now you're gonna, from the inside, you're gonna push out, not the bottom, but like the belly, so your mug has somewhat of a, a rounded belly to it. So you keep going around and push it out more and more until you get a nice belly on your mug. It just looks better when it's a tripod. Your clay should be nice and soft so that you're still able to do that. And then the lip, you're not going to pinch it, but you're going to kind of round it over your finger so it's an easier drinking lip. And now you're thinking functionality, right? It needs to be comfortable and easy to drink from. So you want to round it off so it doesn't hurt your lips, but also an easier flow for the liquids. So you're using your thumb and your fingers to curl it out to make that drinking lip. Next you're going to do, you need to figure out where your seam is or was. That's where you're going to place your handle. So then you're either going to pick the front or the back. It depends where you want your migrating animal to be. You're going to pick the front or the back, so not opposite from your handle. And you're going to dent in a little niche where you're going to attach your animal. You can use your thumb, your fingers, make sure you support it on the inside with your hand. And you're going to keep pushing it in until you have a deep enough niche where you can score and slip and attach your animal, which will be in the next video. Make sure you don't push through. If you do, patch it up, but you got to be gentle. And there you go. It should be nice and clean. And then you're ready for the next step. It needs to stiffen up a little bit before we can attach the handle.